In this video, I'm going to add a SICK Ethernet IP encoder to an M340 project. The first thing we need to do is add an NOC card so that we can communicate Ethernet IP to the encoder. If we double click on the card, we can see that we need to give it some memory to use for the actual transactions. I increased the max size from 16 to 100 and gave it a located area memory for the transactions to occur. So then the next thing that we need to do is come over to the tools, and we need to go to the DTM browser, and we need to configure the IP address of the actual NOC card. In order to do that, we come here, and I'm choosing the 127.0.0.1 network right here, and I'm going to give the IP address of 1.15 for my card. So I'll do 1.15, apply. We'll say OK. Then I need to add my SICK EDS to the file. The EDS for the Ethernet IP encoder isn't in the base unit, so I'm going to right click here, go to Device menu, Additional Functions, add an EDS to library. I went to the SICK website and found the EDS online, and I downloaded it to my desktop. So I browse to my desktop, and you can see here's the EDS file. I've already done this, so we'll just back out of this. And we'll come into a new menu under Tools. We'll call it the Hardware Catalog. Under the Hardware Catalog, we go to the DTM Catalog tab. I would need to update this, but I've already done this before, so it'll take a little bit of time out of the process here. And we go to Vendors, SICK. Here's my encoder that I imported. I'm going to drag that onto here. This is the name it's going to be called for the structure it puts in the program. And now I'm going to double click here, and I can see some information about the base product. I'm going to go to the inputs. You can see that it's a multicast. You can see the size of the messages themselves. There's no inputs coming back in, but the actual information here is 8 bytes. Go to the configuration. I'm going to configure this. It's scalable. So in my case, I want it to be 1,000 counts per rev. And I know I can do 4096 revs, so my total resolution is right there. And now I have to come back to the tab up here, double click. I added this device here. So now I've got to come in here and give my end device an IP address. So I go into address settings and gave it 1.16 for my device. Go down to the inputs. I can see my connection information. Everything's looking good. And here's my items where I have the fault header and position value. So we should be good right there. So now I'm going to build the project. Close out some windows. We can see that we have 3 new drive data types that are in our system with the SICK Ethernet IP. So I'm going to go to my variables. I'm going to add these three. I'm going to add these 3 variables to an animation table. I'm going to download the project. Expand this right here, and you can see that I can turn my encoder. The position changes 1,000 counts per revolution. I can also see, if I expand on the NOC card, the health bits, that I have a healthy transaction of 1. If I disconnect the cable, that goes to a 0. I connect it back in, takes a little bit. The health bit goes back to a 1.